Blaque Knights performance, and it's a performance, it's called Legacy, and basically it's a celebration of blackness and about our history from the past, present, future, and all time basically. And we've got a wonderful show. We've got singers today. We're going to have read some poems. We're going to have some dancing. So we're going to show you basically a wide range of entertainment that we as black people do, and we've come a long way to show you. Okay. The reason we've got this celebration tonight, because as you well know, in October we've got Black History Month, and this is our contribution towards that. The reason why we've got Black History Month basically is really to present the history and discover it, which we once lost basically. Some people are not in tune, some people don't know, so it's our duty to educate people and show them exactly what we as black people do. Okay. Tonight we've got, oh yeah, before I go on, I know people like to eat, we've got a wonderful buffet around there. It's £5 a head, cheap at half the price. Help yourself and tuck in, because I know I will. And yes, just had to get it, sorry. Okay, back to the show. In so many ways, history is our legacy, and as you will see from the following performances, at the back of the hall you can see a displays, the wonderful displays. We've got wonderful books over there. That is a representation of what we're about to show, sing, dance for you tonight. Also, one last thought before this performance begins. It's important to know where we're from as well as where we're at. We know that we're a strong race. We know we were established nearly 400 years ago, in which 115 million of us were murdered and countlessly more enslaved. And our history is hidden from ourselves and others. And we're divided, and we were divided so that they could conquer, and conquer they did. They took away our culture, our history, all our riches, both physical and spiritual. And at the end of 4 centuries, we had nothing. We had to be grateful for the little piece of land that they gave us. And yet 100 years after, we've been freed and we have been destroyed with apartheid, segregation. And we've needed to break down so many race barriers also. But we've educated ourselves, bought our own land, bought our own houses. Basically, we're professional people, lawyers, doctors, teachers, engineers, technicians. We work in security, protecting people and protecting important people. So basically, we're rediscovering our history and rediscovering who we really are. Even though it took 400 years for them to destroy us, yet it's only taken 1 century for us to discover ourselves, or rediscover, I should say. Yet we've still got a long way to go, and we've come so far. This is only the beginning, but we will have the last laugh. However, enough of me babbling on, and I'm sure you've had enough. And I'm going to introduce, well actually I'm just going to hand you over to the performers. And we also ask you, if you're going to make an applause, just to hold it until the end of the performance, please. Okay, thank you.
I'm a dust-coloured eve at the dawn of the century. If you look into my eyes, you can see the whole of history. I bear the scars of a bygone age, caught in the raptures of white man's rage. On the crown of my head I wear Saharan cane waves, an ancient design as old as the wind blows. If you look to my hands, although lastingly lovely, you can still see the toil that was passed down onto me. All civilization grows in my belly and is nurtured at my breast. I shape our children's future in the way that mothers know best. If you listen to my voice, even though I do speak softly, you can hear 1,000 years' rage swelling round inside me. I am a living language written in beauty, and I am clothed in truth. If you want to know my side, I let you through this passing century, each evolution of life, as you touch the place where history has touched me.
Rewriting History. This is an article taken in The Voice, written by Bishop Joe Alford. I remember the first time I heard the joke about a carload of people who were lost and stopped to ask a pedestrian for directions. Having told the pedestrian where they wanted to go, the pedestrian thought for a while and responded, "Yes, I know what that is. What if I were you? I wouldn't start from here." The trouble with life is that you always have to start from where you are to get where you want to be. Where we want to be in this world is a place where there is equality, justice, and mutual respect for all. The truth is, we are a long way from there, and if we could help it, we would not start from here. The question is, how did we get here? Black History Month is not the whole answer, but it's a significant part of the way towards creating a world in which all people have their histories accurately recorded and accessible to themselves and others. This is a world in which no group claims superiority, nor feels inferior because of lies and manipulation of their stories in the past and present. Black History Month has taken on the task of highlighting significant truths about world history. Who was truly responsible for doing what? These are lessons for all of us, irrespective of ethnic identity or faith. I have found that amongst Black Christians in Britain, there exists great ignorance concerning the history of Christianity. Few seem to know that Africans and Asians played significant roles and that some of the key figures of church history were black. This is why some can get away with saying that Christianity is a white man's religion. Many Pentecostals are ignorant of the fact that the key person in the launch 20th century Pentecostalism, William Seymour, was a black man. A recent television program has even suggested that Jesus himself was black, not a white European as portrayed as many black people's homes. A word of warning. As we unearth black history, we who are black, dark-skinned people must remember that African does not adequately represent all black people. In the fight against white elitism and suprematist ideology, we must be careful not to develop a black equals African ideology which ignores the identities of black people from other backgrounds and cultures. This care needs to be taken with religious and secular history and contemporary practice. Let's celebrate Black History Month in our churches, mosques, community centres, schools and homes. Let's tell our stories again, but this time let's have the truth. To get a world of equality, justice and mutual respect, this is where we need to start. Thank you.
In the beginning was the Word, and all life was created by sound. Dust-coloured Eves and dust-coloured Adams communicated with each other by drum, and with village upon village communicating, and community upon community, and tribe upon tribe, all communicating with each other. Music was born.
That was our first two poems, just getting underway there. We're going to have some soca dancing now, soca aerobics. I don't know if you've never seen it before, you're going to see it now. It's going to be demonstrated by Dion, and she's going to come and show you exactly what it's all about, and where you can enroll and where you can take part also. Okay. Why did you colour me black, Lord? Were you just having fun? And seeing how I could cope with being treated like no one? Why did you colour me black, Lord? Knowing they would hold me back? Why make my colour of darkness or negative things are black? When I hear the word black, Lord, I think of what it means, of filthy clothes and dirty hands, and definitely not kings and queens. Why did you give me a thick nose and lips and this kinky nappy hair? What makes you stand out in crowds that makes white people stare? Black is the colour of bruises on someone's eye or knee. Black is the colour of darkness. Why didn't you make it the colour of me? Why is my bone structure so thick, my hips and cheeks so high? Why my colour of my eyes, big black holes? And why not the colour of the sky? Why do people think I'm trouble? And why I'm always being used? Why do people see my skin and think I should be abused? Lord, please answer my questions. Why do they only see my skin and immediately hate me? And why do they know the person within? And why don't my own people mistreat me? They don't like my hair or my skin. They see I'm too dark, too light, that my bum is too fat or too thin. Lord, wouldn't it be better if we could change to redo creation so we all look the same? Then God replied, "Oh my sweet precious child, what makes you think I'd cause you harm? There's no need to be alarmed. Why did I colour you black? I never coloured you at all. I made you one of the mightiest nation of all. I made you colour of dark rich soil, of black gold, the precious oil. These things that all people need to warm their homes, to grow, to feed. I made you colour of the coal from which beautiful diamonds are made. I made you a colour that's strong, one which will never fade. All colours of the rainbow are found in all earth's nations. When you combine these colours, you become my greatest creation. Your hair is like lamb's wool. I created you in he. I am the shepherd who watches over lambs, and I will always be over thee. You are the colour of the sky at midnight, the stars that shine in the eye. Look on the smile behind your pain, then you'll see why your cheeks are so high."
My name's Dr. William Havisham Brown, and I was involved in the Empire experiment of 2259. It was to find a world that didn't have blacks. But what we found was appalled. I'll tell you the facts. What happened that day is quite simply this. Finding a parallel universe, we stepped into the abyss. And on the other side, we found a completely barren land. Not at all as we imagined, not at all so grand. The world we found wasn't heavenly. It wasn't a dream come true. We thought we found a paradise, but we didn't have a clue. On this land there were no crops, or there were very few, for without slaves to maintain them, nothing planted grew. The cities had no skyscrapers, because without Alexander Mills, the elevator wasn't invented, and staircases were like hills. And in this world there were no cars, as it was Richard Spikes who invented the automatic gear shift, so the shortest journeys were hikes. And the supercharged system for the internal combustion engine, Joseph Gamow invented, patent pending. And without Guaranteed Morgan inventing the traffic lights, road rage levels rose to immeasurable heights. Albert R. Robinson invented the electric trolley, so the rapid transit system seemed a folly, because without its precursor it couldn't be used. And on that issue I still remain confused. Paper, wrappers, litter all cluttered the streets, without Charles Brooks, street sweeper, to keep the streets neat. And there wouldn't be any literature, because John Love invented the pencil sharpener. and William Purvis invented the fountain pen. And nothing could be written without either of them. Lee Burridge invented the typewriting machine, and W.A. Lovett invented the advanced printing press. There was so much black people had done, and we as white people hadn't guessed. The postmarking and cancelling machine was invented by William Barry. Philip Downing invented the letter drop. Now mail could be carried. And William Purvis invented the hand stamp, and now we have Royal Mail. Letters delivered each evening without fail. Our lawns were brown and wilted because John Burr invented the lawnmower, and cutting the lawn with clippers is outstandingly slower. Joseph Smith invented the lawn sprinkler to water the lawns. Without this too, the grass was wilted and torn. Our homes were poorly ventilated and very poorly heated, for Frederick Jones invented the air conditioner. This fact should be repeated. Alice Parker invented the heating furnace to keep our homes warm. And Lewis Latimer invented the electric lamp to light our homes till dawn. The lantern was invented by Michael Harvey, and the automatic cut-off switch by Granville T. Woods. And without John Standard's refrigerator, we couldn't store our goods. We couldn't keep our houses clean without Thomas Stewart's mop. And without Lloyd Ray, you wouldn't find a dustpan in the shop. Sarah Boone invented the ironing board, and George T. Salmon invented the clothes dryer. The comb by Walter Salmons, and the shoe lasting machine, Janny Matzelinger. The truth is that our nation was not only built on slaves, they were the inventors. It was us who lived in caves. And white society looked down on them as if they were a joke. But really the world would be nothing if it wasn't for black folk.
On August 15th, 1999, at 11:55 p.m, while struggling with the reality of being human instead of a myth, the strong black woman passed away. Medical sources say she died of natural causes, but those who know her know. She died from being silent when she should have been screaming, milling when she should have been raging, from being sick and not wanting anyone to know because her pain might inconvenience them. She died from an overdose of other people clinging to her when she didn't even have energy for herself. She died from loving men who didn't love themselves and could only afford her a crippled reflection. She died from raising children alone and from not being able to do a complete job. She died from the lies her grandmother told her mother and her mother told her about life, men and racism. She died from being sexually abused as a child and having to take that truth everywhere she went, every day of her life, exchanging the humiliation for guilt and back again. She died from being battered by someone who claimed to love her, and she allowed the battering to go on to show she loved him too. She died from asphyxiation, coughing up blood, from secrets she kept trying to burn away instead of allowing herself the kind of nervous breakdown she was entitled to, but only white girls could afford. She died from being responsible because she was the last rung on the ladder and there was no one under her she could dump on. The strong black woman is dead. She died from multiple births of children she never really wanted, but was forced to have by the strangling morality of those around her. She died from being a mother at 15 and a grandmother at 30 and an ancestor at 45. She died from being ragged down and sat upon by unevolved women posing as sisters. She died from pretending the life she was living was a Kodak moment instead of a 20th century post-slavery nightmare. She died from tolerating Mr. Pitiful just to have a man around the house. She died from lack of orgasms because she never learned what made her body happy, and no one took the time to teach her, and sometimes, when she found arms that were tender, she died because they belonged to the same gender. She died from sacrificing herself, or everybody and everything, when what she wanted was to do was to be a singer, a dancer, or some magnificent other. She died from lies of admission because she didn't want to bring the black man down. She died from race memories of being snatched and raped and snatched and sold and snatched and bred and snatched and whipped and snatched and worked to death. She died from tributes from her counterparts, who should have been matching her efforts instead of showering her with dead words and empty songs. She died from myths that would not allow her to show weakness without being chastised by the lazy and hazy. She died from hiding her real feelings until they became hard and bitter enough to invade her womb and breast like angry tumours. She died from always lifting something from heavy boxes to refrigerators. The strong black woman is dead. She died from the punishment receives from being honest about life, racism and men. She died from being called a bitch for being verbal, a dyke for being assertive, and a whore for picking her own lovers. She died from never being enough of what men wanted, or being too much for the men she wanted. She died from being too black, and died again for not being black enough. She died from castration every time someone thought of her as only a woman, or treated her like less than a man. She died from being misinformed about her mind, her body, and the extent of her raw capabilities. She died from knees pressed too close together because respect was never part of the foreplay that was being shoved at her. She died from loneliness in birthing rooms and aloneness in abortion centres. She died of shock in courtrooms where she sat, alone, watching her children being legally lynched. She died in bathrooms with her veins bursting over with self-hatred and neglect. She died in her mind, fighting life, racism and men, while her body was carted away and stashed in a human warehouse for the spiritually mutilated. And sometimes, when she refused to die, when she just refused to give in, she was killed by the lethal images of blonde hair, blue eyes and flat butts, rejected by the OJs, the Quincy's and the Potiers. Sometimes she was stomped to death by racism and sexism, executed by high-tech ignorance, while she carried the family in her belly, the community on her head, and the race on her back. The strong, silent, talking black woman is dead.
What happened to the people of the summer? The traveller asked the old man. For I heard they were wise and mighty people. Ah, the old man sighed. They lost their history, and so they died. What I will tell you is the legend of summer, a story spread by word, about a nation of people who once did rule the world. And am I the last one who shall speak it, because I am the end of the line? I am the world's last black man, and so the duty is mine. We had so many enemies and fought so many wars, not all the battles were physical, some in the minds, like yours. We didn't believe in our history, we didn't believe in ourselves. We allowed other nations to pass us by and leave us on the shelf. We believed the version of history that we were always slaves. We forgot that we were kings and queens and believed we lived in caves. We failed to remember our value, all the things that we'd achieved as inventors, scientists, doctors, and catering for our nation's needs. We failed to value our women and preferred to worship instead their thin-hipped, blue-eyed counterparts, and now the black woman is dead. I am the last of a nation, the last to know it all. There can be no more offspring. Our nation has met its fall. And suddenly, it becomes so real to me that we have endured slavery, apartheid, racism, the truth we all ignored. We started to fight amongst ourselves, and there wasn't any prize. We turned our backs on our brothers when we needed was our pride. Pride is the fact that we were black people, proud we had come through it all, proud we were a nation of fighters, standing firm, stable and tall. And now our nation has fallen, and there are no remains. We've swept away the memory, no history books with our names. No one will come to our epitaph, no statue will stand in our honour. There will be no day declared holiday, no homage to our colour. There will be no poppies on Remembrance Day for those who died in the wars, who gave up their lives in the battles that didn't help our cause. When I sit and think of my people, tears prick the back of my eyes. There's no record of our greatness. History's made up of lies. I want to tell you a story of dust-coloured girls and boys who were raised in the world of wonder, rich laughter, countless joys. Of children who were snatched from parents, bred and sold as slaves, who never saw their families again, who lied in unmarked graves. It's not so far away from me, the suffering and the dying. I'd managed to distance myself by listening to their lying. And here I am, bewildered. In my heart I feel the pain. They're screaming in my ears as their blood rushes through my veins. So many of us were murdered, and the truth lay twisted and covered. We killed us again by forgetting that we all suffered. That we were the mightiest nation of all, a fact to which we were blind. The ethnic cleanses started with our bodies and ended in our minds. We could fight the tangible enemy, but we couldn't fight the lies that wrote us out of our history, and that is why we died. And here is a legend to an end. I have to say with sorrow that this is not a myth, it's a memory. It was not far from tomorrow. 15-minute interval, and we'll resume after that. So if you'd like to get yourself a drink and to wet your lip.